What's up guys, Houndish here, and today it's time for some more Destiny 2 news. So we've got a couple of exotic quest updates. There are also some potential new quests in the database. We're going to talk about some rare unlocks that we'll eventually be able to get. We've got some hints towards the DLC story that we'll see in September. Got a few other things about some other rewards. We'll also talk about Bungie's latest kind of mini fiasco with the new exotic emote and a bunch of other stuff, so let's jump straight into it. First up, of course, this week it is the return of the Iron Banner, the first Iron Banner inside of Season 3, and the most notable topic of conversation around this event at the moment has to be the new exotic emote. So we can see it right here. I actually think it's a pretty cool looking exotic emote. I'm not generally the biggest fan of cosmetic stuff, but I do think this one is kind of cool. So what is everyone going on about it? Well, of course, you can only get this emote by direct purchasing from the Eververse store. So it can't drop via gameplay, you can't buy it with silver dust even, you have to buy it with silver, which costs actual money. And Cosmo did confirm this. We have received a lot of feedback about making more Eververse items available for direct purchase. Currently, this emote does not drop anywhere else. So if you want this thing, you are going to have to buy it. And this, of course, is why a lot of people are pretty irritated about this. I've seen various conversations, some people are really triggered by it, other people are like, what are you on about, dude? It's an emote, if you don't want it, don't buy it. And I do kind of understand both sides of the argument. To me personally, when it comes to this kind of content, I've always said that, things which are lore or are related to special elements inside of Destiny's universe, I think those things should always be earned through gameplay. So for me, I'd rather see this actually drop by achieving something in the Iron Banner. I don't necessarily have a massive problem against direct selling things, but I believe that all of the stuff you can purchase should be, non-lore related, non-story related stuff, kind of like the popcorn emote. The way that stuff works, I don't really have a problem with. I never enjoyed them putting things like Ikora's ship in Eververse, and I don't enjoy them putting this emote behind Eververse either. That's just my personal opinion. I'd be curious to hear what you guys think. I don't know if we can expect to hear anything more about this from Bungie. I guess it depends how much fuss people make. One thing is for sure though, there are a lot of people who are not happy about this. Let me know your thoughts down below. Up next though, I wanted to talk about something pretty interesting which is in the database. So back when Warmind actually launched, a load of folks were leaking sort of files from the PC version, and you can see a few different classified things inside of there. And one that is pretty interesting would be this emblem. Doesn't necessarily look super insanely special or anything like that, but if you look at the key kind of background art, you can see that these are the kind of pillars which float on the surface of Titan that support all of these structures. And then of course you have the 9 dots on the left hand side. 7 of these are kind of lit up, and then there are 2 which are kind of grayed out, so I don't know if that's going to be significant in some way because this is a classified emblem. And I can't see really a great reason for Bungie to classify something like this if it was just, a new random kind of planetary item. So honestly, it looks like this could be the reward for a quest or something. Why it would be taking place on Titan though is anybody's guess. A few people have been searching Titan for items like the Black Spindle. Of course, you do have Savathun's Song. I've also heard some people report that there are new scannables and things like that on Titan and some new dialogue in some of the missions. So I think we could potentially be onto a secret of some sort here. I should also mention that there are a few random exotic items. The Irish shell that we've spoken about a little bit, this exotic Rasputin themed ship, and this new Sparrow as well, which almost looks like a Rat King themed Sparrow. Some people have reported having this one dropped, but it's a very tiny number of people, so it could just be a bug. So these also could be rewards that are kind of part of a quest or something. Equally, it's possible that these could be some kind of strike specific loot for the future. We haven't had the Will of the Thousands or the Zol strike as in Nightfall just yet, so there's going to be some kind of loot attached to that. Doesn't look like there are any other weapons in the database that haven't been discovered yet, unless this is indeed classified. So there's always a possibility some of these items could come from there. Briefly though, of course, Nascent Dawn 3 of 5 came up this week. You have to complete escalation waves, vanguard strikes, find a cache in the Olympus Descent, and then you're actually done with the part of the quest for this week, and you will get a masterworked version of the legendary Braytech rifle. And this actually masterworks it for magazine size, interestingly. And next week you will have to get precision multi-kills without reloading on Nascent Dawn 4 of 5, as well as general kills with the prototype scout rifle. And so people are speculating, because we've had some kind of small reward or upgrade every single time. What will happen on Nascent Dawn 405? Some people are now thinking that you might actually get the Polaris Lance next week on 405, and then 505 could actually be reserved for the exotic catalyst for Polaris Lance. If it doesn't come through a quest though, the catalyst has the potential to be quite a mystery. It says found by discovering the secrets of a newly awakened intelligence, but either way, all of this certainly tells us there are at least a few more little secrets to find in the Warmind expansion. Now, last week in a video, I spoke about the Worldline exotic sword and the catalyst for this. This is going to be one of the most grindy catalysts for sure. So initially you unlock the catalyst by killing enemies with swords. It's a completely random drop. Once you've got that though, there are more question marks that you actually see on the weapon. Last week I spoke about having to tesseract bosses in the escalation protocol, and the first 20% of progress on this upgrade happened with last week's boss. That's when it was discovered. My pal Phantom Zone actually managed to get the next 20%, so he's now on 40%. And that was on this week's boss, which of course is the big ogre with the crit spot. And this one is fairly tricky to actually get. I believe you basically have to tesseract onto its back, but it's just worth mentioning that more progress has been made this week, so it's looking like the remaining 3 bosses or the next 3 weeks will be the rest of the progress needed for the Worldline exotic catalyst. So essentially, if you have it, you will have to tesseract every single one of the escalation protocol bosses 1 week after another to unlock the upgrade. And as I mentioned before, the upgrade will allow you to essentially activate tesseract almost immediately when you're moving with the sword, as opposed to after you've been sprinting for a second. Can't say that I feel like that's going to be super worth it. It might be good for folks who are really enjoying it in PvP. Some folks are excited about it, others feel like it's going to be pretty poopy. You'll have to let me know what you guys think. Now I want to talk about hints to the Fall DLC. Bungie are actually giving us a few small teasers. So going back to the final cutscene for Destiny 2, of course they gave us kind of a roadmap of what was going to happen, or at least where we were going to go. We saw Mercury and then we saw Mars, so that was Curse of Osiris and Warmind. The next thing we see though is the Reef. So of course at this point we can assume that's going to be significant. We also see the Dreadnought and Saturn, and then we see those bizarre pyramid ships at the end. So it seems likely that we'd head back to the Reef in the Fall DLC. On top of this though, in Warmind there is of course the scannable ship crashed in the cave, and this is indeed Prince Uldren's ship. But then if you take a look at the sealed Ahamkara grasps, there is actually the lore tab, and it reads, "Few things can see the light, we are not blinded. The bearer seeks the truth, but what separates truth from fiction is fragile. A pair of truths and a single falsehood upon the bearer we shall impart. Brother, ally once more, sends his regards. Dreamer, awakened, the bearer shall meet. Light fades deep within the prison." And so it seems like this is a pretty strong hint to Prince Uldren, the Reef, and Prison of Elders as well. So of course it says brother, ally once more, sends his regards, so that suggests the brother is now our ally again. The bit about the Dreamer is a little bit more mysterious. I could potentially be referring to the Queen. Of course, we believe the Queen had actually died in the kind of Taken War. But then, of course, light fades deep within the prison. Prison being capitalized, referring to a place that we should actually know about, of course, the Prison of Elders. There was also additional lore before Warmind actually launched, where Zavala referred to Cade wasting time filling the Prison of Elders with enemies. So that suggests some kind of activity currently going on. And so this pretty much confirms that the Reef is going to feature in that September expansion. There are very big kind of story connotations there. You've got the Queen, the Awoken in general, and what appears to be some kind of allegiance emerging again with Prince Uldren. So it's going to be very interesting to find out what's been going on with the Awoken, with the Queen, and if she's actually returning. What we don't know though is how the rest of the cutscene could potentially relate or link to this. We see the Reef briefly. We also see Saturn and the Dreadnought, and then we see the Hive ships. So we don't really know if this is all going to feature potentially at the same time, and this is kind of wrapping up Destiny 2, or whether there could potentially be another expansion planned for after September of this year. Back in Destiny 1, that is of course what happened. We had the Taken King. Then we had Rise of Iron a year later, and this was actually because Destiny 2 had been pushed back. So right now we don't know what Bungie's plan is there, whether they're going to try and get D3 out in 2019, or whether there will be, you know, a year 3 expansion. I would certainly like to think that Bungie would take the time to ensure that Destiny 3 or whatever game comes next, you know, is definitely going to improve things and not experience the same issues as Destiny 2. But I'd be curious to hear your theories on what will be going on in that fall expansion and how we're going to interact with the Reef and the Awoken once again. But now though guys, just a couple of quick updates about stuff this week. Messer Sean actually asked the guys at Bungie, has the Clan XP powerful gear bug been fixed? And DMG said not yet, stay tuned to know when it will be resolved. So the Clan XP powerful gear engram is still bugged and will actually be dropping a lower power gear, so the recommendation is still to hold on to it, and Bungie should get a fix out soon. Pretty annoying, but what can we do? As I mentioned, Iron Banner is of course going on this week. You can unlock all of the new stuff, new weapons. My friend Callum actually had a ton of Iron Banner tokens and has managed to level up basically to the max level. He's still got 600 tokens left and he's ranked 30 in the Iron Banner for the season, so he can grab basically everything with the exception of the ship. Honestly, looking at the weapons, I think the most interesting one, to me at least, is pretty much going to be the hand cannon, because it's a 140 RPM with very good stats and it's got snapshots, so it's incredibly snappy. I actually jumped in the Iron Banner with this for a couple of games, and as you can see, it's a pretty solid hand cannon. To be honest, it feels really nice. Not flashy by any means, but it's just very sturdy. The other stuff I just don't find all that exciting for this Iron Banner personally, but let me know if you're going to be grinding this week to try and grab any of the stuff. I complained yesterday that they hadn't put rankings into the Iron Banner, so you can't actually progress with Valor or anything like that. Really hope they change that for next time, but let me know your thoughts on the Iron Banner anyway, guys. That is pretty much going to summarize the video though. I hope you have enjoyed it as always. If you have, a like is very much appreciated below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit subscribe if you want to see more Destiny 2 content going forward. Check out my sponsor Into the AM. They've got some pretty awesome clothing in their store. Really neat hoodies, shirts, hats, bandanas, accessories, a whole bunch of other stuff. And if you want to save 10%, you can use code Houndish. The link for that will be below. For now though, I appreciate you guys watching as always, and I'll catch you very soon.